In 2025, Burkina Faso did something the West didn't expect. It stood up, not with weapons, not with war, but with unity, with courage, with clarity. Across the globe, protests are erupting. Africans from Accra to Atlanta are rising in solidarity with one man, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the youngest head of state in Africa, the face of Burkina Faso's revolution, and the leader they've tried to assassinate at least 18 times. But ask the people of Burkina Faso who he is, and they won't say dictator. They'll say, he's one of us. He's the reason we still have a country to fight for. So how did we get here? Why is the West so desperate to paint Traoré as a villain? And what really lies beneath the surface of Burkina Faso's so-called instability? Let's rewind, because this story has been buried far too long. Burkina Faso has long suffered under the weight of foreign exploitation. Gold, minerals, and strategic influence. It was all up for grabs, as long as the people remained silent. Then came 2022. Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power in a coup. The West called it instability. The people called it salvation.
The approach that we have had with USAID and the other things like the President's Initiative on AIDS, how does our U.S. approach compare and contrast to the approach of Russia in Africa and also Communist China in Africa?
Oh, Chairman, we've always had the lead. So what you're seeing in those two competitors or challengers, they're following in our wake. They see what works as far as our influence and deepening partnerships through those soft powers, whether it be health diplomacy or whether it be in development type programs. So they're following in our wake, trying to replicate what we do best. And I think the African countries know this, and so this is where, as we start to look at going forward, as State Department starts to reset these programs, looking at what worked and what didn't work, and doubling down on what does work. I think we have enough capital built up in these countries for them to ensure their stabilization and also prosperity. The other two competitors are just trying to replicate what we do best.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across. Even in Sudan, what's going on with the rapid support forces and Burhan of the Sudan forces, when you get down to it, is all about the revenue that can be drawn out of that. And there are nefarious actors in the CCP and sometimes Russia are complicit in those activities.
Under Traoré, the old script was torn apart. He said no to French troops. He kicked out Western mining giants. And most importantly, he gave Burkina Faso's gold mines back to the people. We know how to mine our own gold, he said. Why let multinationals take what belongs to us? And just like that, the rules changed. Traoré placed two of the country's most lucrative gold mines under full state control. The money? No longer flowing to Swiss accounts and Parisian vaults, but back into Burkinabe schools, roads, and hospitals. That's when the assassination attempts began. One, then two, then 16 more, each one more desperate than the last. But Traoré survived, again and again, and the people noticed. April 30th, 2025. A global movement ignites. Across cities and villages in Africa, from Johannesburg to Dakar, and in diasporas from London to Atlanta, people march, not just in protest, but in defiance. Signs read, "Hands off Burkina Faso." "We stand with Traoré." "Africa for Africans." And something unprecedented happened in the city of Bobo Dioulasso. The elders marched, bent backs straightened with purpose. Old warriors and wise matriarchs walked in unison, not for themselves, but for the generations behind them. "An elder does not imitate, they are imitated," one marcher declared. "We will not sit by while foreign hands crush our children's future." The message was loud and clear. This isn't just about Burkina Faso. This is about Africa's right to choose its destiny. And while mainstream Western media painted these marches as state propaganda, on the ground, cameras showed something else. Volunteers risking their lives to defend their villages. Grandmothers blessing the shoulders of young soldiers. Fathers giving their sons wooden carvings of Traoré, calling him the Lion of the Sahel. The final blow came not from a drone or a coup, but from a microphone. In a congressional hearing in Washington, officials debated Africa like it was a board game. China, Russia, soft power, mining rights, following our wake, as if millions of Africans were just background noise to empire's next move. They spoke of Traoré as if he were a pawn, a rogue, a strongman. But back in Burkina Faso, reality told a different story. A confession shook the nation. Traoré's own chief of staff, backed by French contacts, had accepted $41 million to facilitate a covert arms deal meant to destabilize the state from within. It was a plot that failed. Why? Because Traoré had already seen through the fog. And so had his people. "We do not kneel before anyone but our parents and God," Traoré said in a televised address. "Let the liars lie. We stand firm." In a time when the world trades truth for spin and sovereignty for profit, Burkina Faso is choosing to walk a different road. Not as a colony, but as a country. So here's the question the West won't ask, but we will. If a leader survives 18 assassination attempts and is still standing, what does that say about him? And more importantly, what does that say about us? If you believe in sovereignty, if you believe in Africa's right to chart its own path, don't let this story be buried. Like, share, comment. Let the world know that Africa is awake. And no matter how many times they try to silence us, we will not fall.